hey, you know the Vegas punk shop idea? I go, yeah. And he goes, scrap that. We're going to do the punk rock museum. Are you in? I go, absolutely, I'm in.
Hi guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. Now we're in Las Vegas this weekend primarily for When We Were Young Festival, of course, but you know when we were in town, we had to check out this amazing place. This is the Punk Rock Museum. It opened up earlier this year after years in the planning. There's a tattoo shop here. There's an actual punk rock bar downstairs. There's all manner of temporary and permanent exhibits with some really amazing artifacts from all the decades of punk. We're going to check out and talk to some of the people behind this incredible structure. So come with us inside the Punk Rock Museum. All right, I'm joined now by Vinnie, who was instrumental as part of the setup of this whole place. Nice to see you, man. Thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks for being here and enjoying the Punk Rock Museum.
Well, it's absolutely wild. I mean, I'm kind of so stunned at first of all, the size of the place and the kind of range of exhibits here. Tell me a little bit about actually putting this together in the first place, I guess.
It's almost 3 years. In December, it'll be 3 years, but I get a call from Fat Mike, and he goes, hey, I'm thinking about putting together the Vegas Punk Shop, where it'll be, a few little artifacts for bands, but also just really an extensive store of punk exotica, right?
Yeah, sure.
I said, he goes, are you down? I go, I'm totally down. And I had just stepped away from touring, and I was looking for, hey, what am I going to do now that I'm not touring? And he was like, do you want to do it? And I go, absolutely. He goes, okay, cool. A few days from now, I'll call you back. So a few days later, he calls me back and goes, hey, you know the Vegas punk shop idea? I go, yeah. And he goes, scrap that. We're going to do the punk rock museum. Are you in? I go, absolutely, I'm in. And it was literally a 2-year sort of piece together and climb to get it,
Wow.
So for us, we're celebrating our 3-year inception in December, like I had mentioned. And
Amazing.
it's been a wild ride, man.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's 12,000 square feet.
Wow.
5 decades of punk rock music. And people go, oh, it's just Fat Records in the 90s or Epitaph or just California. I mean, I'm literally staring at right now Cancer Christ.
Right,
and
sure.
right next to Masked Intruder, right next to Suicide Machines. Go down the line of it. You're talking about Scowls in there. And the Linda Lindas are represented.
Yes.
So as well as 1970s New York and 1970s UK. So it's literally 5 decades of punk rock in this building, all represented.
I mean, that must have been so important to you because, punk's obviously been going as a genre for so many decades now. And as you just alluded to, it's split off into all these kind of different subgenres.
Yep.
It's got into different little pockets and scenes around the world. I am really impressed by the fact that, like you say, it feels like every element of that is represented. It's got to be a challenge in a way to make sure that was the case.
You know what? Everybody has a definition of what punk rock is, right? Punk rock is, from the 90s when the person came into the scene, right? And sort of cut their teeth on what they liked and who they are. But it's so hard when you're assembling something like this and it's decades worth. You really have to question, okay, maybe I don't think metalcore is my thing, but most definitely has become part of a punk rock community, a
100%.
hardcore community, right? And not only that, it definitely, the catalyst for a lot of those bands that are massive right now in that scene came from the punk rock community and the hardcore community. So for me, it's a absolute no-brainer to include the bigger metalcore bands. Iced on Kills represented,
Yeah, awesome.
Pierce the Veil represented,
Great.
right? And if you talk to a few folks, it's like, why are they in there? That's not punk rock, but it is, man.
Yeah.
It came out and was born of the punk community.
I think that's it. You look at so much of kind of wider rock culture that was actually inspired by this movement, particularly in the early days of the start of it. I mean, it makes sense to have inclusions like that in there. I'm going to put you on the spot, man, because there's so much to choose from. Again, just even looking around this one room that we're in here, it's absolutely insane the amount of stuff in here. But what are your kind of favorite exhibits if you had to choose? Is there anything in here that you're particularly proud of the fact that you guys got in here?
You know what? Tim Armstrong's Operation Ivy guitar.
Oh,
Operation
Yeah.
Ivy, massive, because it wasn't my brother's punk, right? I had a 4-year older brother,
Yeah.
and so I came in with his punk, Ramones, Clash, but when I found Lookout Records and I found Operation Ivy, that became my punk rock music. So having Operation Ivy guitar downstairs, Tim's guitar, is a huge moment, right? And I'm super proud of that, but also super proud of Bill Stevenson's Black Flag's drum sets downstairs, right? And it's just a wild thing. And there's a few things I would like to see that are near and dear, and we're gonna get there, man. Because we're sitting in a building that is a living, breathing monument to punk rock.
Absolutely.
It will always expand, no matter what. Since we've opened in April. We've been constantly collecting artifacts. It's constantly updated. If you are here today, 6 months from now, there'll be a lot more to look at.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you guys are moving with the times as well. I mean, obviously we're here at When We Were Young weekend this weekend, and the fact that out front today you've got all these kind of local businesses kicking off. It's like a tailgate party vibe outside, which is a fun thing to do.
You know what? It's not every weekend that you have 160,000
like
punk rockers come in, right?
Yeah.
So it's important to have a local business and local representation as well. So they're out in the parking lot, and bringing them into the fold is important it's important to have the roots of the museum become part of the local scene in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Not only music scene, but also with fellow businesses in Las Vegas.
I mean, I think you've raised an interesting point there as well, because I think a lot of people, when this was announced, may have thought like, oh, that's interesting, it's in Las Vegas. But again, like we say, there's scenes all across the world. It'd be a bit difficult. If we put it in London, it'd be like, well, obviously there's the New York punk scene and there's what came out of LA. And it's like, it's kind of difficult to pick. I kind of feel like it's actually really slotted in nicely in this area. It makes a lot of sense.
Las Vegas is a good neutral city.
Right, sure.
If it was in LA, if it was in London, if it was in New York City, there's a lot of territory and a lot of territorial hurdles you have to jump through.
Sure.
Las Vegas, not only is it a great neutral place to have the Punk Rock Museum, but it also for cheap hotels, for public transportation, for an international airport that is not a problem. It's a hub of tourism. It makes 100% total sense to have it right here where we're talking.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that you guys are constantly looking to the future. In terms of that, where do you see this? Like, how far ahead are you guys thinking in terms of plans of how you want to expand on new things you want to try? I notice, obviously, this room right now is obviously a photo exhibit. You've got loads of temporary exhibits that keep coming in as well.
Yeah, that's
really exciting.
Today we have Black Punk Now temporary exhibit that's opening.
Hi, I'm James Spooner. I'm a writer, film director. What else do I do? Tattoo artist and illustrator. And I curated this Black Punk Now exhibit that is going to be up for 6 months. My documentary Afropunk, which came out 20 years ago. And within the film, I interviewed over 80 black punks, and we talk about the experience of being black in the scene. And it's kind of really the first time that the punk scene was really challenged to think about the experience of people of color within the scene outside of fuck Nazis, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the film's been out 20 years and it's really kind of made its mark on the community. So I'm really proud of that. And that's where when I can, lead us into the exhibit, because when the film came out, I started doing screenings, and those screenings turned into concerts, and those concerts are the photos in the exhibit are of those concerts, where we just have probably the first time in history where you have all black bands on stage and majority black audience on stage. So it was, maybe some of the first all black mosh pits, So it's pretty exciting to look at, especially 20 years later, because now there's a lot of black and brown punk collectives all over the country who are really promoting our experience. And I also have images from their shows in the exhibit as well.
I'm looking at a smaller case that's on the wall right there. It has Dwayne Peters. It has some U.S. Bomb stuff. We literally filled that case last night. Oh, wow. We were here working on new cases, the 4 that are up here, until 3:45 a.m.
Wow. Wow.
So when I say that, there's always new things that are happening. There's always new things to look at. There's always new artifacts that are coming in. Literally, that explains everything.
Absolutely. No, such an exciting future ahead. One more thing I've got to mention before I let you go is I love the fact that you set up a proper punk rock bar downstairs as well. If you're going to have a punk rock museum, you got to have a punk rock bar, right?
You know what? We have a punk rock bar. It's the Triple Down. We also have a tattoo shop that's on premises,
Very
which
cool
is
idea.
about 15 steps from where we're at, right? And if you're going to do a punk rock museum, you better have a dive bar that's attached to it, and being able to have a tattoo shop that's very close by to make some mistakes and forever souvenirs, right?
Yeah.
It's important to have that too, man.
Absolutely, I fully agree. Well, man, congratulations on this. I've really enjoyed checking it out today. And yeah, just best of luck with everything in the future. We'll keep an eye on all these exciting new things you'll be bringing in, man. I'm sure.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Good
Thanks
to
for coming
see
by.
you.